So I've been running a stat distribution like this for some time. 4, 2, 10, 7, 7, and 5, or I've got like 4, 3, 10, 6, 6, and 6. I've got a couple different variations, but it's all very similar to this. And one of the reasons why I've been doing that is because resilience is overall a pretty bad stat. It doesn't help you in very many situations, unless you get to 6 or above. And in most situations, you can't really do that nicely, or at least I couldn't with my gear. Now, the other thing, too, is intellect, on the surface, it gets very heavy diminishing returns. And so if you're at, like, 7 resilience, your cooldown is 4 minutes and 7 seconds. And then at 8, it's at 4. And so you're only saving, 7 seconds. Does that seem that important? Does that seem that valuable? And between 9 and 10, you're only saving 4 seconds off your super. Now, I got a new Karnstein's armlet. I got this one today, and it had a bunch of resilience, recovery, and intellect. And so I swapped to this bad boy, and I started looking around at some of my other gear, and if I could make any interesting builds. And I ended up finding this one here, where I've got 6 resilience, 10 recovery, and I've got 10 intellect. And even though I'm losing some grenade cooldown, I'm losing some mobility, and only a tiny bit of strength, I think this is going to be my new loadout going forward, because for whatever reason, I've noticed a lot of Thorn. And maybe it's because I've been using a lot more Thorn lately, and I posted a video showing off Thorn. But at 6 resilience, you're able to tank headshot, body shot from the Thorn. And so if anyone's using Thorn against you, if you're not running 6 resilience, it's actually very easy for them to kill you. And it's one of the reasons why I think Thorn is so dominant, is because resilience is overall a pretty shitty stat. Other than against Thorn. That's like one of the only guns. And so if you are using Thorn, you can kind of abuse everyone who's not using 6 resilience. It's a little tiny thing, but it's one of the reasons why I feel like Thorn is super busted and no one's really talking about it. Anyways, I wanted to test this out. I still have my 10 recovery, but then I started looking at intellect. And if you listened to me earlier, intellect has pretty heavy diminishing returns, right? 3 minutes and 48 seconds versus 4 minutes, right? 12 seconds for 20 extra points. It doesn't seem like that big a deal. But the more Trials of Osiris I play, typically on Fridays with ZK and Frostbolt, it is so sweaty and people are third-person peeking. This 12 seconds does matter, because it's not just your first super, which you're going to get before everyone else in the game, most likely, but you're also going to generate orbs from that first super that could maybe get your team to get their supers before everyone else, and you can kind of snowball with just that initial 12 seconds. Because that 12 seconds, being able to shut down a round before anyone else can pop their super is incredible, especially in Trials. But then, if everyone is still camping, it's a really close game, you're going to get your next super before them as well. And so if you're chaining these supers, you're putting your team in a situation where you've got multiple supers when they've got none. Both the first super and most likely the second are going to be almost uncontested, and that's great. But then I started looking at pairing it with something like remote connection and my sniper, and my god, you can get like 3 or 4 or even 5 supers in a game. Now, granted, it's got to be pretty close in Iron Banner 6v6. There's got to be a lot of kills going on, really back and forth. If you want to get 5 supers in a game, you got to play like a god. So no, not most people are going to be able to do that. But 3 or 4 supers is very reasonable. So I wanted to show off some of this footage as well as another game, just to give you an idea of how fast you can get your super. I get the first super in this game like in a couple of minutes, very, very fast. You slay out a little bit, you capture a couple zones, and you are going to be pretty much dominating everybody with a super before anyone has half their super, depending on their intellect. If they've got 4 or 5 intellect, you're going to be popping almost double, if not triple, if you're a good player, than the average player. So I want you to check this out. I'm going to shut up. We're going to jump into a gameplay, and I hope you enjoy.
Like a mine
Oh my god! I'm shitting on them!
Zone B captured. Make them feel it. You have the advantage. Press on.
Now, I ended up botching this super, but essentially 2 minutes to get this thing. And, you know, I could have created a bunch of ores for my team early on. They could have snowballed. You could probably mercy most teams you play. This game, though, I think is a good example of playing solid and how many supers you can get and how dominant you can be on the map. Nice connection. Really good. It's fine. See, I need to use my super now. Early. Really early. Man, that was a bad super. I like panic too much in that super. I don't know why. Oh well, it's fine. What just happened there? Damn. Swashbuckler's nice on this thing. It's really nice. I like it. I think I've got a swashbuckler, oh my god. Oh my god! What the fuck, dude? What was that? What was that? Jesus Christ!